Hello, welcome back. I am Marcus Talks, and this is the Game Collection Tour series. A small ongoing series where I detail my game collection and talk about memories I had with these games. And as you can see, first console. This is the first console era. Nice camera angle we got there, isn't it? Nice reflection off of the blue Nintendo DSi XL. This was my first console, and we can even trace back to the year I got it pretty easily. 2012. Got a stack of games sitting over here, but I thought we could look at the contents of this box, maybe even this, and definitely the DSi itself. So why don't we start with the thing that might be a little less interesting.
Once again, before that, really quick, please, if you enjoy this, like, comment, subscribe. I want to know what thoughts on this are. Now back to the regularly scheduled video. Thank you.
This has not gotten much use recently. We got some 3DS cards, and we got a giant pen stylus that came with the system itself. Pretty cool thing, but ultimately useless. I mean, it's just a large stylus. In fact, it feels like it has less weight compared to a regular stylus. Very odd. We're not going to bother wasting time zipping that back up. Let's look at the contents of this box. If I can figure out how to open it. No, I'm kidding. And the Wii U stand is coming in handy as an actual stand this time. We got quick start guides in multiple languages. Club Nintendo again, when that existed. A little Nintendo Power throwback. Save an additional $5 when you go online. It's actually pretty cool. Business reply mail. I never really looked at some of this stuff and appreciated it during that time. Just a manual, I'm guessing. Health and safety precautions, nobody cares. Let's see, here we go. We even got DSiWare manuals for the 3 installed games. I'd say that's 2 games in 1 application, considering the one is a photo clock. Yeah, what is DSiWare? Non-existent. Got small manuals here for each game, it seems, in multiple languages. It's a nice feature right there. How to use the photo app? Nope, just another quick start guide. And, oh man, a beefy operations manual. I don't care what language it is. That's a lot of operation manuals information. See, telling you how to use the camera on your cat. This thing is ginormous. We're 70 pages in, and it's still English. So it goes over about 100 pages. And then you finally... Alright, and we got an empty box here. Because, well, that was everything. Man, look at the size of that thing. Nowadays, if you buy a Nintendo console, you get... Sorry, there was a weird break that I had to do. But yeah, I was saying, nowadays, if you buy a Nintendo console, you're lucky if you get something that thick explaining what to do. I'm just gonna cut out a lot of this. All right, now we come to the DSi itself. Thank you, Wii U stand, for helping. And magic clip. And I was a good person and never lost my stylus. We got the photo app, DSi Sound, Flipnote Studio, shop, browser, download play. That was fun. PictoChat, internet. Oh, just a video. BrainAge Math was always fun. And I never downloaded DSiWare. Let's just check the photos real quick. And we got first photo, Christmas 2012. It's probably about the time I got this thing. And man, do I look dorky. I'm wearing like a Minecraft t-shirt. Weird kid. Okay, that's enough of that. We've seen enough on there. And this will magically close because I'm cutting this out. All right. Now let's move on to the games. First, we'll get stuff like this out of the way. Yeah, I got stuck with some stuff like this. We got those weird licensed games, pseudo-educational games. Boy, these cases are heavy and really hard to open. Well, we still got manuals. Manuals are always fun. Not sure how informative a manual for this game could be, considering it's left brain, right brain 2. Just got warnings, battery packages, exercises, not even color manuals. This is weird. Like, here, look at this. It's like caved in where the manual goes. It's an interesting thing. These cases are very thick. Patent pending. That's a good sign. We got some Cheez-Its. Yeah, not many memories with this game, I'm gonna be honest. This is one of those, your parents got it for you because it's semi-educational, helpful in development. Nowhere to go but up, and I spoke too soon. Jumpstart Deep Sea Escape. Unlock items at jumpstart.com. I guarantee that does not work anymore. Knowledge Adventure. Yeah, another one where less vivid memories exist. I remember I played it at some point, but I don't remember how long I played it for or what I even did in it. It's a cool feature that a lot of these had, like you could put a Game Boy cartridge in here, but I never did because I had a DSi and it was not backwards compatible. Ooh, a color manual. It's nice. I really don't know if you guys want to look at these manuals or not, though, because it's Jumpstart Deep Sea Escape. I think the patent pending is on this one, too. Yeah, it's all patent pending. These cartridges are very well made. I'm surprised, honestly, that the Switch cartridges are basically just, you know, a shrunken down version of one of these. That surprises me a lot. how much they've managed to shrink down game cartridges over the years. Club Penguin Elite Penguin Force. Unlock items online. I did do that, except that's completely pointless considering Club Penguin has been shut down. I do remember this mildly. It was like a point-and-click adventure game. Not an amazing one, but it was a point-and-click adventure game. In fact, I think the code that came with it, here we go. Don't you dare use that, because it's already been used, and again, Club Penguin no longer exists. Guess we gotta take that out if we want to even peer into this manual. Actually, this looks like a mildly interesting manual to look through. Unlike the first two. Honestly, that's not... They did a pretty good job on this manual. Whoever wants to decode that, feel free. Using this code key right here. Things have been odd around Club Penguin lately. Yeah, I remember this was based off of like the spy organization that was in Club Penguin. But considering I didn't play too much of actual Club Penguin, I don't have too much memory of how that game even worked, other than it was like a small MMO, barely, made by Disney. Yeah. Look around and move. Use the stylus to move and select. Very minimal game controls. Yeah, it was like a point and click. Ooh, you could play mini games in it? I don't remember that. I don't remember you could play the Club Penguin mini games in it. Might record some of that just to see how accurate they were. I mean, this isn't awful. This is a very well detailed manual. More decoding that you can do right there. Spy Puffles. We have to detail pausing and saving, because that was such a foreign feature back then. Bolt, fall 2008. Limited warranty. Well, I mean, that was a small little blast of nostalgia, and if you played Club Penguin, that would actually be interesting to hear. Because I played a bit, but, you know, PC games and all that. Phineas and Ferb, Ride Again. This was based off of like 3 episodes of the show, and once you beat them, you could no longer play the game unless you reset it. I do remember that for sure. Did I bury the actual game manual under this? Look at this game. What the? Just like a super fold-out manual? Alright, give me a second for this. Look at that. It's like a poster. Not a great one because it's all folded up and probably has been for over 10 years. And then advertising. A Perry the Platypus DS shell. Phineas and Ferb, A Very Perry Christmas. Christmas in a Box, free Perry iron on inside. Cars Tunes, Mater's Tall Tales, the video game. It's actually pretty nice. Again, that poster, you get it folded out, looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a poster for a not amazing DS game, but it was Phineas and Ferb, so let's be honest, it's pretty cool. Let's get that out of there. Oh, don't forget to recycle. Phineas and Ferb Ride Again instruction booklet. Was this detailing anything? Nice color on the inside. This was like a fairly odd 2D platformer. Well, not 2D, 3D platformer. What am I talking about? It was probably actually 2D. It was just done in a 3D style. There were some like 3D-esque sections, and it would bounce back between doing the Doofenshmirtz, Perry the Platypus stuff, and then the Candace and Phineas and Ferb stuff. It was like fairly interesting, but like I said, once you got to that point where you beat everything, you couldn't play through the game again unless you deleted the save file, which I think is kind of stupid. Not a bad time, but for being a Phineas and Ferb video game, I was very disappointed. Had fun back then. Let's see, not actually technically my game, but we can still take a look at it. It's a drawn to life game. It's SpongeBob. Actually, it's very interesting that they based this off of a singular episode instead of making an original SpongeBob story for it. I mean, they did make an original story for it, but they based it all off of an episode with a magic pencil. I mean, that's not a terrible thing to do. It's a fairly good episode with Doodle Bob. Hobble Bobble. All that. Black and white manual. Play THQ. Thank you, THQ. I don't have a lot of memories with this one, mostly because it was for my little brother, because he was obsessed with that episode for quite a while. But still, it's a drawn-to-life game on a DS, perfect system for it, and it was based off of a property, and a pretty fitting episode at that. Special Edition Finding Nemo, Escape to the Big Blue, again, also for my little brother. And yeah, we'll just forget we saw this one. There was no game there. All right, and then we come up on like sort of a double. I got this one along with all of the other games on Christmas. And then this I bought at stores later. This one I beat. This one I did not, because the last level is ridiculous. But both of these games, I mean, they're fairly good RTS games. In fact, I'm surprised they haven't brought this back. I mean, if they made a Lego RTS series now, I think it would do fairly well. Bring back the Lego Battle name. And do the crossover thing where you can bring in different characters. It'd be a decent idea. This is a very fun game, except you could do like a hero side for each story, then a villain side. Although I have to say, the hero side for like the space one is ridiculous, because one of the levels requires that you basically continuously manually shoot through stuff because of how the game works. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing this again. I probably would stink at it because I've never actually been fairly good at RTS games. But I mean, it was pretty fun. If you played with a certain faction in modes or on maps where they wouldn't have existed, like if you played with any of the factions that had a spaceship or aircrafts but no aquatic, like boats or ports, they would still build a port, but they couldn't build boats because I guess they hadn't been programmed for their faction. That must have been an oversight on their end. And then this one, well, I was in an Ninjago phase for a while. Not proud of it. I'm surprised that Ninjago is still going. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just, this is probably one of the longest running series they've done with LEGO. Not including the City franchise that they built. Although the City franchise is more of like a, what's the word, open-ended. They're not locked into telling specific stories. Got the manual here. I do remember this game had like larger character sprites, which I think made it a little bit easier to direct and control. But let's be honest, this one was made more as a licensing thing than, you know, an actual game first. Each of these games did have one interesting thing, and that it's if you played on Christmas, you'd unlock Santa Claus. I may have to revisit this one at some time just to see if I can beat it, or to see if I've gotten better at RTS games. This one was more, there weren't as many factions to choose from. You had like 2 factions to choose from because there were the ninja, and then there were the skeleton guys, which I can't even remember what they're called. Just goes to show how big of a fan I actually was. I could probably recite everything for you 10 years ago. Isn't it fun when you had that weird interest and then you forget everything about it years later? It sure is fun. And now we've come to the big boy games. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, and Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Which one to start with? Let's start here. Get out of here. This was a good RPG. Good starter RPG. It had a fun story, great mechanics. You switch between Bowser in the 3D, well, top-down view, and then Mario and Luigi in a full 2D platformer view inside of Bowser. Fun when you see Bowser's insides are basically just 2D Mario levels. Decent fighting mechanics. Bowser could inhale enemies and then you'd fight them with Mario and Luigi on his inside. Story was great. Brought back characters from the Superstar Saga game. It gave us new characters who would become mainstays in the series as long as it actually existed. Which, RIP Alpha Dream. Where's is Alpha Dream's logo back here? Is Alpha Dream's logo on here? No, they get no recognition. Alpha Dream was a really good studio. They made all of the Mario and Luigi games, but during the 3DS era, they got way too caught up in doing remakes. Started with Superstar Saga, and then they remade Bowser's Inside Story. They remade literally every game except for Partners in Time, which is like the only one I did not play. which doesn't make any sense, but it also does because I never got it. Fawful, oh man, he was fun. Nice art, nice character portraits. I do remember, yeah, I loved all of the little mini games you could do throughout the game, but the sad part is, kind of like Phineas and Ferb, you couldn't play them again unless you restarted all over from the beginning, which felt a little annoying. Like, you couldn't just go and then redo one of the mini games, like the carrot eating one where you had to digest a full carrot, ginormous carrot. If you wanted to do it, you had to play again from the start. Any of the giant battles, you had to replay the game from the start. Any of the Bowser Innard mini games where you had to strengthen his muscles or make him sneeze, you wanted to play those again, you had to start all over again. Really annoying when games do that. This game gave us some pretty interesting attacks that Mario and Luigi could do. Mario and Luigi were mostly button-based, and then Bowser's special attacks were mostly stylus and touchscreen based, which I think was interesting. It definitely helped, you know, showcase how the system worked with its touchscreen. I think most of the Mario and Luigi games have been decent at showcasing each console's abilities. This game has the badge mechanic, which was way different than the original game. Some of the special attacks were really fun, like the one where you have to feed Luigi and then he becomes ginormous for 2 seconds so that he can stomp on enemies. This honestly was one of my favorite games for this system. And I beat it in a few days. Well, actually, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I got pretty far into it in a few days. The game eventually started kicking my butt after a while because, I'm gonna be honest, it was pretty hard at some point. Yeah, fun game. Nice weird red case that they do with a lot of Mario games. And now we come to my most prized DS game. This has actually been one of the games in my collection that's worth the most for a while. Mostly because, let's see, the only other way to play it is the Wii U eShop. And that's closing down next year. And this was what's referred to as a cult classic game. People agree generally that this is better than Phantom Hourglass. I've had the opportunity to play Phantom Hourglass even though I don't own it. I've gotten pretty far into it. And yeah, this is the superior of the two. With the system of having to chart out your course every time you need to go to a new area, the train tracks made it a little bit easier to keep track of where you're going. And just works better when you have limited options when you need to travel. It made traveling a little bit simpler, which I don't mind that. And the touchscreen controls with Link, they reworked them to be better. So instead of having to do a circular motion to roll, you just double tap and Link would roll to speed up. The soundtrack of this game, I really honestly hope they remake both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks in a modern style with modern controls, because these games do need it. They'd have to be extremely reworked because the games were really built around the touchscreen controls. But I'd really like other people to be able to enjoy these games. Great story, great controls, great puzzles for the most part, and it had this nice little postcard thing you could do where essentially every day you could send in postcards through the mailboxes, try and win prizes. And it would work on an internal clock, i.e. the DSi's internal clock. And depending on how many you sent in, you had a chance to win grand prize, which would be these items you could trade in for rupees or to get different train cars, which were pretty fun. This introduced me to one of my favorite Zelda characters, Linebeck. Or Linebeck the Third, because of how time works in this universe. The train theming never bothered me as much as it bothered other people. This is legitimately one of my favorite Zelda games. The pan flute was so fun to actually use when it worked, as long as you weren't in the car. The train controls worked very well, blowing stuff up with the cannon. Alfonso's house was the train shop. It was fun. It was fun to get new trains. That's something I really enjoyed. Battle mode and tag mode, I never really got an opportunity to use those. If I ever meet people who want to do that, I will, just to get the full Spirit Tracks experience. I honestly think this game is better than Breath of the Wild in many aspects. People will probably think I'm stupid for saying that, but I'm going to one-up them right now. This game had a story. And actually decent puzzles, because they were puzzles. I've just angered many people, and I'm fine with that. And that's the end of the game collection for the DS, the first console era. And with that, we're going to end on my first console, one of my favorites. I did neglect it eventually and wanted to move on to the 3DS. But this game, this console, some of the best memories I have. And with that, that will be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. You know, like, comment, subscribe. I may have said that earlier, but I need to get better about asking that, even if I'm uncomfortable. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.